Let me walk you through something that happened to a lot of people recently. You plan your monthly grocery run. You head to Walmart with a mission. Rice, canned vegetables, cooking oil, pasta, cleaning supplies, paper products, the essentials. Your cart fills up steadily. You feel organized. You feel prepared. You approach self-checkout with confidence. An employee holds up a hand. 15 items maximum in this lane. You count your cart. 43 items stare back at you. The staffed cashier lanes stretch deep into the store. 2 lanes are open. Both lines are long. That scenario is not fictional. It is unfolding in real Walmart locations across America right now. What began as a quiet store-level adjustment is evolving into something far bigger. Laws are being written, fines are being issued, political support is crossing party lines. If you shop in bulk, build emergency pantries, or simply believe in being prepared, this information matters to you. Not tomorrow, today. Let's work through this calmly and thoroughly. Welcome back. My name is David. This channel exists for one purpose. We talk about real issues affecting real households. Emergency preparedness, food security, family budgeting, and the everyday shifts that quietly reshape how we live. Today's topic is one that has generated more online conversation than almost anything else I've covered recently. The 15-item self-checkout policy at Walmart. I know how that might sound at first. A checkout line policy doesn't feel like survival content. But give me your full attention here, because this story connects to legislation, to theft data worth billions of dollars, and to the future of how Americans buy food. By the time we finish, you'll understand 3 things clearly: where this policy came from, where it's going legally and politically, and exactly how to adjust your shopping habits so none of this catches you off guard. Everything I'm sharing today comes from 2026 sources. Recent, verified. Let's move. Here is the core situation, stated plainly. Walmart has been gradually introducing a 15-item cap at self-checkout kiosks across hundreds of stores nationwide. This is not a company-wide universal rule yet. Walmart gives individual store managers significant authority over local operations, so your nearest location may or may not have implemented this yet. The word "yet" matters here. Pay attention to it. What makes this particularly frustrating for shoppers is the history behind it. Walmart invested heavily in self-checkout infrastructure over the past decade. They expanded kiosk numbers, reduced staffed registers, and subtly trained customers to scan their own purchases. Millions of shoppers adapted. We learned the system. We used it efficiently. Now the policy is reversing course, and the limitation of 15 items feels especially sharp inside a store that markets itself as a one-stop destination. The frustration is real, and it is rational. One shopper from the Baltimore area shared online that she had 23 items and was directed to a staffed lane. That lane had 8 customers ahead of her, each with full carts. The math doesn't serve the shopper. It doesn't serve efficiency either. A resident near Plattsburgh, New York, learned from a store employee that the 15-item rule was launching at their location within days. When she posted about it in a local community group, the response was immediate and strong. People were not happy. One comment captured the sentiment well. The entire premise of Walmart is volume purchasing under a single roof. A 15-item limit conflicts directly with that promise. There is also an additional layer worth knowing. Beyond the item count restriction, many stores are narrowing what products self-checkout kiosks will process at all. Alcohol and tobacco products require age verification, which means a human cashier. Items with security devices, or stored in locked cases, are being routed to staffed registers exclusively. The self-checkout lane is functionally becoming an express lane. And remember, Walmart actually tested a stricter 10-item cap across roughly 200 stores back in 2022. They pulled back from it, but the 15-item version has returned in 2026, with wider reach and, critically, political momentum behind it. That political side of things is where this story becomes genuinely important to track. Let's move from store policy into law, because that transition is already happening. New York City, in March and April of 2026, Councilwoman Amanda Farias from the Bronx introduced a bill targeting self-checkout across New York City. The bill would apply to grocery stores and pharmacies across all 5 boroughs. Under this legislation, no customer could use self-checkout for more than 15 items. Additionally, retailers would be required to staff at least 1 employee for every 3 active kiosks. Non-compliance would carry a daily fine of $100 per violation. The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection would handle enforcement. The bill currently has 4 co-sponsors on the City Council. It is being actively reviewed. If passed, retailers would receive a one-year window to meet the new standards before enforcement begins. The reasoning behind the bill, as articulated by Councilwoman Farias, is also notable. Her argument was not framed purely around theft reduction. She cited worker displacement and reduced consumer protection as equal concerns. That framing is important because it broadens the political appeal of the legislation significantly. California is already further along than most people realize. Long Beach and Costa Mesa, both located in Orange County, adopted self-checkout staffing requirements and item limits during 2025 and the early part of 2026. Costa Mesa was the first municipality in the county to move on this. Their rules mirror what New York City is now proposing. 1 employee per 3 kiosks, a 15-item cap per customer. And the fines for non-compliance are active. This is not a trial period. It is already law and being enforced. At the state level, California Senate Bill 442 would carry these same requirements statewide. That bill is moving. Ohio. This one genuinely surprised me when I first saw it. State Senator Thomas Patton, a Republican, introduced Senate Bill 415 in early April 2026. That is a matter of weeks ago as of this recording. The bill mirrors the structure we've already discussed. 15-item limits at food establishments and pharmacies. A dedicated self-checkout monitor who cannot be reassigned to other tasks during their shift. Clear signage posted in visible locations. The Ohio bill adds something the others don't. Both customers and employees would have the right to pursue civil legal action if a retailer violates the rules. That is meaningful. It shifts enforcement away from government agencies and gives individuals direct legal standing. Now consider the geography here. California, New York, Ohio. Those 3 states represent the far left, the center left, and a reliably conservative political tradition. And all 3 are advancing the same 15-item number through their legislative processes. When policy converges across that wide a political spectrum, it tends to spread. If your state is not on that list today, it would be reasonable to expect similar proposals within the next 1 to 2 years. Before we go deeper, take a quick second. If this information is useful to you, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it genuinely helps other prepared people find this content. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell. Drop your state in the comments below and let me know whether your Walmart has already made this change. I read every comment and your reports from the ground help this community stay informed. Now let's get into the numbers behind all of this. Because the theft data is what's really driving every decision we've discussed. To understand why Walmart and legislators are making these moves, you need to see the financial picture clearly. Walmart's reported theft losses were approximately $3 billion in 2021. By 2022, that number had climbed to $6.1 billion. In 2023, estimates placed it around $6.5 billion. That is not a rounding error. That is a doubling in 2 years. Industry analysts believe self-checkout is responsible for up to half of those losses. We are potentially talking about $3 billion walking out of Walmart's self-checkout kiosks in a single year. Zoom out to the entire retail sector, and the scale becomes staggering. American retailers are losing more than $100 billion annually to theft. Some projections push that number toward $140 billion as trends continue. The industry term for this is shrink. It refers to all inventory loss including theft, damaged goods, and administrative errors. At self-checkout lanes, shrink runs between 3.5% and 4% of sales. At traditional cashier-staffed registers, that number falls below 1%. Self-checkout generates up to 4 times more shrinkage than human-operated lanes. 4 times. A Lending Tree survey found that more than 1 in 4 people who have used self-checkout admitted to stealing at least one item. More recent data suggests over 36 million Americans have stolen from a self-checkout kiosk. Of that group, close to 20 million indicated they intend to do it again. I'm not here to judge anyone. What I am here to do is help you understand the economic chain reaction this creates. Retail businesses don't absorb losses passively. They do not simply accept shrink and move on. Those losses get distributed across the entire pricing structure. When Walmart loses billions to theft, the cost is spread across every product on every shelf. Every honest shopper pays a percentage of that loss through higher prices. If you are someone who budgets carefully, who plans purchases, who builds a prepared household, that theft epidemic is directly hitting your grocery bill. It is not abstract. It is coming out of your pantry fund. There is a further consequence beyond pricing. Walmart CEO Doug McMillon has explicitly stated that stores may be closed in areas where local authorities are not prosecuting shoplifting cases seriously. For rural communities where a single Walmart may be the primary grocery source for miles in every direction, that is not a small threat. A store closure in those areas creates a genuine food access problem. The theft numbers explain every policy decision we have discussed. They explain the item limits, the legislative momentum, the AI cameras, all of it. This is the engine running everything. Let's get specific about who this affects most and how. If you manage a prepared household, if you build and maintain emergency food supplies, if you shop with intention and volume, a 15-item limit is not a minor inconvenience. It is a direct conflict with your entire approach to grocery shopping. Think through a standard pantry restock run. Canned tomatoes, black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, tuna, salmon, sardines, brown rice, white rice, rolled oats, pasta, flour, cornmeal, cooking oil, olive oil, salt, sugar, honey, apple cider vinegar, coffee, tea, powdered milk, dish soap, laundry detergent, paper towels, toilet paper, hand soap. Basic first aid supplies. You have crossed the 15-item threshold before you finish the canned goods section. A responsible stock-up run for a family of 4 might include 60 to 80 individual items. That is not excessive. That is what responsible household management looks like. The irony in all of this is significant. Walmart built its entire brand identity around volume shopping. The supercenter concept was explicitly designed to serve customers who wanted to buy everything in one place. They cultivated the bulk shopper. Their pricing model assumed high-volume customers. Their layout encourages large carts and full hauls. And now those same customers are being redirected to cashier lanes that are often understaffed and slow. One shopper shared a story that I found genuinely illustrative. She spends over $500 per month at Walmart. When her store began enforcing the 15-item limit during a busy period with packed cashier lines, she made a decision. She left her full cart in the aisle. She drove to a different store. That $500 monthly customer simply walked away. She is not an isolated case. Community threads across Reddit and local Facebook groups show a consistent pattern. People who shop with volume and intention are redirecting their budgets to Aldi, Lidl, BJ's Wholesale, and other retailers. Walmart built a customer base around a promise. The 15-item limit strains that promise significantly. Beyond the immediate inconvenience, there are downstream effects worth thinking through carefully. Time cost is real money. If self-checkout is limited to 15 items and staffed lanes are slow, every large shopping trip takes longer. For families managing work schedules and childcare, that time cost compounds quickly. Elderly and disabled shoppers face new barriers. Self-checkout was often preferred by shoppers who wanted control over their pace and process. Redirecting them to cashier lanes removes that autonomy. Small business owners who shop Walmart for supplies are affected. A caterer, a child care provider, or a home cleaner buying supplies in volume faces the same limit as a household shopper. Their operational efficiency takes a hit. Cash-dependent shoppers may face additional friction. As Walmart continues evolving its checkout infrastructure, some technology-forward changes may disadvantage customers who prefer or rely on cash transactions. Privacy implications of AI surveillance are expanding. The same systems being deployed to catch theft are capturing detailed behavioral data from every shopper. That data conversation is still in its early stages. Each of these dimensions deserves attention as this situation develops. We're about halfway through. Quick pause. If you've learned something useful in the first half of this video, let the algorithm know by hitting that like button. It costs you nothing and helps this content reach more people who think about preparedness seriously. If you're not subscribed yet, now is a good moment. We cover exactly this kind of practical, real-world information regularly. And drop a comment below. Have you personally encountered this policy? Has it changed where you shop? Your experience is valuable to others reading the comments. Let's keep moving. The 15-item limit is one part of a much larger operational response to the theft crisis. What Walmart is deploying technologically is worth understanding in full. AI-powered camera systems. High-theft Walmart locations have been equipped with artificial intelligence-driven surveillance cameras throughout 2025 and into 2026. These systems are fundamentally different from traditional security cameras. They analyze behavior in real time. If a shopper picks up an item and places it in a bag without scanning, the system flags it immediately. A nearby associate receives an alert. They can approach the customer with a casual inquiry. The system can also pull overhead video of the specific transaction to review precisely what occurred. No waiting, no reviewing footage later. Active, real-time response, RFID tags and embedded barcodes. An expanding range of products now carries RFID tags or invisible embedded barcodes. These communicate with sensors located throughout the store. In theory, the system can detect whether an item left the store without being scanned through a register. The tracking is automated and continuous from the moment a product enters your cart. Weight verification systems. Self-checkout bagging areas use weight sensors that cross-reference scanned items against what physically rests on the surface. Scanning a less expensive item while placing a premium product in the bag triggers a mismatch alert. The system catches it immediately. Payment terminal security covers. Walmart has added physical protective covers over payment terminals at self-checkout kiosks. Their purpose is to block card-skimming devices from being attached by bad actors. These bright, visible shields serve a secondary purpose. They signal to customers that the terminal area is monitored and secured. Zero-tolerance repeat offender policy. Walmart has formalized a strict policy for confirmed repeat shoplifters. Identification, reporting to law enforcement, permanent store ban, and potential civil restitution claims all follow a confirmed incident. This is a shift from the informal, case-by-case approach that characterized earlier years. Cashierless store research. Perhaps the most forward-looking aspect of Walmart's strategy is their documented interest in Amazon Go-style cashierless retail. In this model, cameras and sensors throughout the entire store track every item you touch and place in your cart. When you exit, your account is automatically charged. No checkout interaction at all. Walmart has not announced full deployment of this model, but the research investment is real and ongoing. Taken together, this technology picture reveals something important. The 15-item limit is a transitional measure. It is a policy patch while the next generation of checkout infrastructure is built, tested, and scaled. The direction of retail shopping is toward more automation, more surveillance, and more automation-driven accuracy. The checkout experience of 2030 will look very different from 2019. We are in the middle of that transition right now. Practical response is the most valuable thing I can offer you. Here is a clear, calm set of adjustments that will serve you well regardless of how this situation evolves. 1. Move large hauls to Walmart grocery pickup. This is the most straightforward adaptation available right now. You build your cart entirely online. Walmart's team pulls every item. You drive to the store and pull up to the designated pickup area. Everything is loaded. You drive home. No checkout lane, no item count, no waiting in line. For orders of 40, 60, or 80 items, this is already a superior experience. Walmart Plus members get free pickup on qualifying orders. If you're not using this for your big hauls, start now. 2. Use the Walmart Scan and Go app. The Scan and Go feature inside the Walmart app allows you to scan items as you shop using your phone's camera. When you're done, you pay through a kiosk or your phone directly. At many locations, this currently does not trigger the 15-item limit applied to standard self-checkout kiosks. That may change as legislation tightens. Use it while the option exists. It is genuinely efficient for large carts. 3. Build relationships with alternative bulk retailers. Sound preparedness strategy never relies on a single supply source. This situation is a useful reminder of that principle. Costco and Sam's Club are purpose-built for volume shopping. Restaurant Depot is accessible to the general public in many regions. Azure Standard operates a bulk food delivery network with monthly drop points across the country. Latter-day Saint home storage centers sell long-term food staples at cost and are open to all, regardless of religious affiliation. Aldi and Lidl offer strong value on everyday grocery items. Local food co-ops often provide bulk options with community benefits. Know these options. Use more than one of them regularly. A disruption at any single source should never derail your household supply system. 4. Restructure how you shop at Walmart. If pickup isn't available and you need to shop in-store, consider splitting large shopping trips into focused segments. Go in for your canned goods. Come back for dry goods and household supplies. This isn't ideal, but it works within the current limitations while you build out alternatives. 5. Maintain a 60 to 90-day household supply buffer. This is the most protective measure available. When your household maintains a meaningful supply buffer, you never need to do an emergency 80-item cart run. You shop to replenish, not to catch up. Smaller, more frequent restocking trips work within the 15-item framework more easily than panic buying sessions. The buffer is what transforms a policy change from a crisis into a minor adjustment. 6. Learn your store's peak hours. If you need to shop in-store with a large cart, staffed lanes are always an option. The inconvenience is the wait time. Knowing when your store is least busy makes that wait time shorter. Early weekday mornings, late evenings, and midweek afternoons are typically lower traffic windows. 7. Watch state-level legislative activity. Bills are moving in New York, Ohio, and California. If you live in those states, the timeline matters. If you live elsewhere, watch for similar proposals. When they emerge, public comment periods and direct contact with your state representative are meaningful opportunities. Local and state politics are far more responsive to constituent input than federal-level issues. Your voice carries more weight there than most people realize. 8. Consider delivery for heavy or bulky items. Cooking oil, laundry detergent, paper products, and canned goods are heavy and take up significant cart space. Walmart delivery and services like Amazon Subscribe and Save or Thrive Market can handle these items without requiring you to manage them through checkout. Redirect those high-volume, heavy items to delivery. Reserve your in-store trips for fresh items and things you need to select personally. 3/4 through. Let's pause again quickly. If this video is helping you think more clearly about your shopping and preparedness strategy, please hit the like button. Share this video with your preparedness group, your family chat, or anyone doing serious grocery management. These are the kinds of details that matter before they affect you, not after. Subscribe if you haven't, turn on notifications so you catch every video. And in the comments, I want to know, which adaptation strategy are you most likely to try first? Let's keep going. I want to spend some time on the broader economic picture because it connects directly to why prepared households have an inherent advantage here. Retail pricing is not determined by cost of goods alone. It reflects a complex mix of operational costs, theft losses, logistics, labor, and competitive pressure. When theft losses at the scale we discussed earlier get absorbed into operations, the cost surfaces in shelf prices. This happens gradually and across every product category. It is not visible in any single item. But across an annual grocery budget, the cumulative effect is measurable. Prepared households that maintain supply buffers are partially insulated from short-term price volatility. When a category spikes in price, you are drawing from inventory purchased at a lower price point. You are not chasing the current price because you need it today. You are buying at your chosen price because you have time to wait. That buffer is one of the most underappreciated financial tools available to any household. It is not just emergency preparedness, it is practical economics. The self-checkout policy shift, the legislative changes, the theft-driven price increases, all of these affect the shopper who is buying reactively far more than the shopper who maintains a thoughtful inventory. The true cost of convenience. There is also something worth examining in how we came to depend so heavily on a single retail model. Walmart's supercenter concept is genuinely remarkable in many ways. Price competition, product range, geographic reach, these are real advantages. But any household that depends on a single retailer, a single supply chain, or a single shopping method has a structural vulnerability. Policy changes at that retailer become immediate household disruptions. The current situation is a clear illustration of that vulnerability. The households feeling this most acutely are those without alternatives already in place. Diversification in your supply chain is not paranoia. It is the same logic applied to financial investments or emergency planning. Spread the risk, build redundancy. Small adjustments with large long-term benefits. You do not need to overhaul your entire shopping approach overnight. Small, consistent adjustments compound into significant resilience, adding one new supplier relationship every few months. Building your buffer one category at a time. Learning one new option, such as Azure Standard or your local food co-op. These are low-effort additions that quietly transform your household's position over time. The self-checkout policy debate does not exist in isolation. It reflects several larger tensions in American society that are worth understanding. Automation and labor. The push towards self-checkout was in part a labor cost reduction strategy. Fewer cashiers means lower payroll expenses. The current legislative pushback is partly a labor protection response. The 15-item limit and staffing ratio requirements both function to preserve cashier jobs. Whether you see that as positive or negative depends on your values and your economic perspective. Both arguments have legitimate merit. That is precisely why bipartisan support for these measures is possible. Retail viability in underserved communities. The store closure threat from Walmart's leadership deserves serious attention. Communities that depend on a single large retailer for food access are genuinely at risk if theft-driven losses make that store unviable. This is not a hypothetical concern limited to major urban centers. Rural communities in particular often have a single Walmart as their primary grocery option. Food access is a foundational component of household security and community health. Policies that affect retail viability in these areas have real human consequences. Consumer behavior and social trust. The survey data showing over 1 in 4 self-checkout users admitting to theft reflects something beyond simple criminality. It reflects a gradual erosion of the social compact that makes self-service systems possible. When a retailer says, "We trust you to handle this yourself," and a significant portion of customers respond by stealing, the system breaks down. The 15-item limit and the surveillance technology are responses to that breakdown. Rebuilding that trust, if it is even possible at scale, would require changes in both retailer behavior and customer behavior. Right now, the retailers are responding by limiting the system rather than trying to rebuild trust within it. The data privacy dimension. As AI surveillance systems become more sophisticated, the data being collected in retail environments becomes more detailed. Shopping behavior, movement patterns, facial recognition in some cases, all of this is being captured with increasing precision. Regulatory frameworks around this data collection are still underdeveloped. As these systems expand, the conversation about what retailers can legally collect, store, and use will intensify. Shoppers who are aware of this dimension are better positioned to engage with it, whether through consumer advocacy, technology choices, or simply informed awareness. Let's project forward, because understanding the direction of travel is as important as understanding the current moment. The global self-checkout market grew 14.5% between 2024 and 2025. It is now valued at over $6 billion. The technology is not retreating, it is becoming more sophisticated, more accurate, and more integrated with store-wide systems. The 15-item limit is a correction within a larger expansion. The true direction of retail checkout is toward what Amazon pioneered with its Go stores: frictionless exit, no checkout interaction at all. Every item you pick up is tracked. When you leave, your account is automatically charged. The cognitive load of checkout disappears entirely. For retailers, this model eliminates self-checkout theft almost completely. There is no moment to scan a cheap item instead of an expensive one. The system sees everything. For shoppers, it raises serious questions about data collection, behavioral tracking, and what happens if the technology makes an error. Walmart will not deploy this model uniformly or quickly. The infrastructure cost and operational complexity are significant, but the investment in research and testing is real. What we are watching in 2026 is a transitional moment. The old checkout model is breaking down under the weight of theft losses and policy responses. The new model is not yet built and deployed at scale. The 15-item limit is an awkward, frustrating bridge between those two states. 5 years from now, the conversation will likely be very different. Prepared households that adapt now, building supplier diversity, embracing pickup and delivery options, maintaining supply buffers, will move through this transition period with far less friction. Let's come back to center and summarize what we've covered. Walmart is actively implementing a 15-item self-checkout limit across hundreds of stores. This is documented, widespread, and continuing to expand to additional locations. The legislative environment is accelerating alongside the retail policy. New York City introduced enforceable legislation in early 2026. Ohio followed within weeks. California cities are already issuing fines under active law. The fact that both Republican and Democratic legislators are converging on the same 15-item number signals strong staying power for this regulatory directive.